America has always been a land of change. For over 200 years, new towns have popped up like flowers after rain. Some grew around gold mines in California during the 1800s. Others started near oil wells in Texas and Oklahoma. Many began as stops along the great railroads that crossed our country. These towns were full of hope and dreams. But just as towns can grow, they can also disappear. Sometimes it happens fast, like when a mine runs out of gold. Other times it happens slowly, over many years. Today we will talk about 7 towns that might not make it to 2029. We will also learn about 2 towns that are fighting back and might survive. What makes a town disappear? The reasons are many, and they often work together. People leave for better jobs in big cities where there are more opportunities. Young folks go to college and other places and never come back home. The main factory or business that gave everyone jobs closes down. One by one, Main Street stores shut their doors because there are not enough customers. When this happens, something sad occurs. Soon, more people are dying than being born. This is called natural decrease, and it means the town gets smaller each year. Houses sit empty with broken windows and weeds in the yards. Schools close because there are not enough kids to fill the classrooms. The post office might close too. Even the gas station might shut down. This is not just an old problem from long ago. This is happening all across America right now. Today, rural America lost population for the first time in history between 2010 and 2020. That had never happened before in our country's entire history. Scientists who study cities have found that around half of cities in the U.S., including big ones like Cleveland, Ohio, Buffalo, New York, and Pittsburgh, PALS, are likely to lose between 12 to 23% of their people by the year 2100. Think about what this means. If a town has 1,000 people today, it might only have 800 people by 2100. Some towns might lose even more. A few might disappear completely. But now they face big challenges that threaten their very existence. Some face disasters that make them unsafe to live in. Others are slowly emptying out as people move away. A few big cities are losing people so fast they might become much smaller versions of themselves. Yet our story is not all sad. We will also visit 2 towns that found ways to bring in new people and create new energy. These places show us that small towns can survive if they work hard and try new ideas. Let's start our journey through these struggling towns and see what we can learn about the future of America. Centralia, Pennsylvania. Our first stop is Centralia, Pennsylvania. This town has a very scary problem. There is a fire burning under the ground. This fire has been burning since 1962. That's more than 60 years. Centralia, once a bustling coal mining town, became uninhabitable due to an underground mine fire that has been burning since 1962. The fire started in an old coal mine. Coal burns very hot and for a long time. The fire spread through underground tunnels where coal used to be mined. At first, people thought they could put out the fire. They tried many times, but the fire kept burning. Soon the ground became too hot to walk on. Poisonous gases came up from the ground. The air became dangerous to breathe. In the 1980s, the government told most people they had to leave, with only a handful of determined residents remaining. Centralia stands as a stark reminder of the long-lasting impacts of industrial accidents. Today, only about 5 people still live there. The rest of the town is empty. You can visit Centralia today, but it looks like a ghost town. The streets are still there, but most houses are gone. Grass grows through cracks in the road. Steam sometimes comes up from the ground. Warning signs tell people to stay away from dangerous areas. The fire still burns today. Scientists think it might burn for another 250 years. This means Centralia will never be a normal town again. The few people who still live there are very old. When they die or move away, Centralia will be completely empty. This shows us how one big problem can kill a whole town. Centralia had about 2,000 people in the 1960s. Now it has almost none. By 2029, it will probably have 0 people living there. Times Beach, Missouri. Our second town is Times Beach, Missouri. Like Centralia, this town died because of poison in the ground. But this poison was different. It was called dioxin, and it was very dangerous to people's health. In 1983, the entire population of Times Beach was evacuated due to dioxin contamination. Times Beach was a small town near St. Louis. People lived there because houses were cheap. Many families with kids called it home. The problem started in the 1970s. The town had dirt roads that got very dusty. To fix this, they hired a man to spray oil on the roads. This oil was supposed to keep the dust down, but the oil was mixed with dioxin, a poison left over from making chemicals. Dioxin is very bad for people. It can cause cancer and hurt unborn babies. For years, people in Times Beach walked on these roads. Kids played in the dirt. Families breathed the dust. They did not know they were being poisoned. In 1982, flood waters spread the poison all over town. The government tested the soil and found very high levels of dioxin. The levels were so high that the town was not safe for people to live in. The government made a hard choice. They told all 2,000 people in Times Beach that they had to leave forever. The government bought every house and business. Then they tore down the whole town. Today, Times Beach is gone. The land is now a state park. Trees and grass grow where houses used to be. A small museum tells the story of what happened, but no one can ever live there again. Times Beach shows us how pollution can kill a town very quickly. One day it was home to 2,000 people. A few years later, it was completely empty. This can happen when the ground or water becomes too dangerous for people. Sheffield, Pennsylvania. Now let's visit Sheffield, Pennsylvania. This small town in the woods shows us a different problem. Sheffield is dying slowly because there are not enough young people. Sheffield Township has struggled to operate its government and maintain activities that the community can be proud of. Sheffield is in a very rural part of Pennsylvania. It's surrounded by forests and is far from big cities. The town used to have more people. Families with children lived there. But over the years, young people left for college or jobs in bigger places. They did not come back. The people who stayed got older and older. Lee Goldthwait might have the most stable job in this remote corner of northwestern Pennsylvania. The caretaker of Sheffield Cemetery is busier than ever directing crews clearing trees to make space for more graves, as deaths dramatically outpace births. This is a big problem. When more people die than are born, a town gets smaller each year. In Sheffield, there are many more funerals than baby showers. The cemetery keeper is the busiest person in town. Sheffield used to have fun events that brought people together. For 17 years, residents looked forward to the annual 3-day Johnny Appleseed Festival, when thousands of visitors would cram into town. But this year they had to cancel the festival. Event organizers announced they could no longer staff the festival because there were not enough young volunteers. The town is also having trouble running the government. Sheffield suffered another blow this year, when several high-ranking township employees quit, including 2 of 3 supervisors. When there are not enough people, it's hard to find anyone to do important jobs. Sheffield still has a few hundred people, but they are mostly old. The bank closed. Young families are gone. Each year the town gets smaller. If this keeps happening, Sheffield might be empty by 2029. This shows us how a town can die slowly. It's not one big disaster like in Centralia or Times Beach. It's many small losses that add up over time. Claude, Texas. Let's travel to Texas to visit Claude. This small town sits along a busy highway in the Texas Panhandle. Thousands of cars drive through Claude every day on their way to bigger cities. But even with all this traffic, the town is still shrinking. Claude is located on U.S. Highway 287, which connects cities like Amarillo and Dallas. Every day, trucks carrying goods and families on road trips pass right through the middle of town. You might think all these people would stop to buy gas, eat at restaurants, or stay overnight. Some do, but it's not enough to keep the town growing. Despite the heavy traffic, the town population continues to steadily decline. From 2021 to 2022, Claude's population fell by about 7%, from 1,307 to 1,218. This is a big drop in just 1 year. If this keeps happening, Claude could lose hundreds more people in just a few years. Claude is in the heart of farming country. The land around it grows crops like wheat, corn, and cotton. Ranchers raise cattle on big spreads that stretch for miles. This has been the main way people made money in Claude for over 100 years. But farming today is very different than it used to be. Even young people who love their hometown often feel they have no choice but to leave. There might be one or two good jobs in Claude, but not enough for everyone. A young person might want to be a teacher, nurse, or computer programmer, but Claude doesn't have many of these jobs. The people who stay in Claude are often older folks who own their homes and have deep roots in the community. They remember when the town was bigger and busier. They hope things will get better, but they watch their children and grandchildren move away. The mayor is trying to keep a positive attitude about his town's future. "We're a thriving little community," Minkley said. "I don't know that we need a major industry here." He believes that Claude's location and services make it a good place to live. But the numbers tell a different story. If Claude keeps losing 7% of its people each year, it will have fewer than 800 people by 2029. This shows us how even towns with good services can struggle to survive. Being on a busy highway brings some benefits, but it's not enough if there are no good jobs for young people. Fact, the highway might make it easier for people to leave Claude, since they can quickly drive to bigger cities where there are more opportunities. Claude's story is repeated in hundreds of small towns across rural America. They have the basics that people need, but they can't compete with cities when it comes to jobs and opportunities for young adults. St. Louis, Missouri City proper. Now we visit a big surprise on our list. St. Louis is a major city with hundreds of thousands of people. But the city itself is losing people faster than almost any other big city in America. St. Louis lost about 21,700 residents between 2020 and 2024, according to U.S. Census Bureau estimates. This makes it the fastest declining major city in the country right now. Why is St. Louis shrinking so fast? The main reason is that families with children are leaving. The decline is closely tied to the loss of families with children, said Ness Sandoval, a professor of sociology and demography at St. Louis University. These families are not just moving to other cities. They are moving to suburbs around St. Louis. Young families are leaving for communities in the suburbs with better assets, such as parks and schools. This creates a big problem. When families with kids leave, the schools get worse. When schools get worse, more families leave. I think that probably the biggest one that we're talking about this past year is St. Louis Public Schools, said Sandoval. The city also has problems with crime and old buildings. Many neighborhoods have empty houses. Some areas feel unsafe. Good jobs are often in the suburbs, not in the city center. St. Louis shows us that even big cities can be in trouble. St. Louis City is the principal city of the region. It is the brand of the region, he said. If the region is going to recover and grow, the prerequisite is that St. Louis needs to recover and grow. The city won't become empty by 2029, but it might lose many more people. This would make it much smaller and weaker. All Jackson, Mississippi. Our next stop is Jackson, Mississippi. This is the capital city of Mississippi. It has about 180,000 people, but it's facing some very serious problems that make its future uncertain. Jackson was once a proud and growing city. In the 1980s, it had over 200,000 people. The downtown area was busy with workers and shoppers. Many big companies had offices there. But things have changed a lot since then. Jackson has been losing people for years. The city has problems with water, crime, and money. Many businesses have closed or moved away. Good jobs are hard to find. Some of the biggest employers have moved their offices to the suburbs outside the city. The water system in Jackson is very old and broken. Some of the pipes were put in over 100 years ago. Sometimes people don't have clean water to drink. Sometimes they don't have any water at all. In 2022, the whole city lost water for several days. People had to stand in long lines to get bottles of water. Schools and restaurants had to close. This makes it very hard for businesses to operate. It makes life difficult for families who can't even take a shower or wash dishes. Crime is also a big problem in Jackson. The murder rate is very high compared to other cities. In some years, Jackson has had one of the highest murder rates in the whole country. People don't feel safe walking around at night. Some are afraid to go out during the day in certain neighborhoods. Parents worry about their children playing outside. The city government doesn't have enough money to fix these problems. Property taxes are low because many buildings are empty or worth very little. When a business closes, the building often stays empty for years. When people and businesses leave, There's less money to pay for police, firefighters, and fixing roads. The city has tried to raise taxes, but that makes more businesses want to leave. All the young people especially are leaving Jackson. They grow up there, but when they finish high school they go to college in other places. Most don't come back. Others finish college and get jobs in cities like Atlanta, Dallas, or Memphis where they feel safer and have better opportunities. The young people who do stay often struggle to find good jobs that pay well. Even families who have lived in Jackson for many years are thinking about leaving. Ooh, they love their hometown, but they worry about their safety and their children's future. Some move to the suburbs around Jackson. Others move to completely different states. Jackson shows us how multiple problems can hurt a city at the same time. When you have bad water, high crime, and no money to fix things, it becomes a downward spiral. Each problem makes the other problems worse. When people leave because of crime, there's less tax money to pay police. When businesses leave because of water problems, there are fewer jobs for people. The state government has tried to help Jackson. They have sent money to fix the water system, but the problems are so big and have been growing for so long that they are very hard to fix quickly. If Jackson can't solve these problems soon, it might lose many more people by 2029. All the younger. It might become like Detroit, Flint, or other cities that lost most of their population and struggled for many years. But Jackson is the capital city of Mississippi, so it probably won't disappear completely. It might just become much smaller and much different than it is today. Yazoo County, Mississippi. Our last struggling place is not a town but a whole county. Yazoo County, Mississippi experienced the largest population decline of all U.S. counties recently. Yazoo County is in the Mississippi Delta. This is farming country with small towns and lots of cotton fields. But the area has been losing people for many years. The main problem is jobs. Farming today uses big machines and needs fewer workers. The small towns in Yazoo County don't have many other kinds of jobs. Young people have to leave to find work. In Yazoo County, the median list price of a home is $171,156. And homes spend about 124 days on the market. This means houses are cheap but hard to sell. When people want to leave, they can't get good money for their homes. The county has mostly older people now. There are not many kids in the schools. Some small towns are becoming ghost towns. Main Street stores are closing because there are not enough customers. Yazoo County shows us how a whole area can be in trouble. It's not just one town. It's many small towns all facing the same problems. When this happens, it's very hard to fix. By 2029, Yazoo County will probably have even fewer people. Some of its small towns might be completely empty. These 7 places show us different ways that American towns can be in danger. Some face disasters like fires or poison. Others slowly lose people as young folks move away. Cities can struggle with crime and broken services. Rural areas can lose jobs and become empty. But our story is not over. Now let's visit 2 towns that are fighting back. These places show us that small towns can survive if they work hard and try new ideas. Not every small town in America is dying. Some are finding ways to grow and thrive. Let's visit 2 towns that might not just survive to 2029. They might actually be bigger and better. Princeton, Texas. Our first success story is Princeton, Texas. This town near Dallas is growing faster than almost any other place in America. Princeton City, Texas, a suburb of Dallas, was the fastest growing city in 2024. Princeton increased its population by nearly 1/3 in just 1 year and has more than doubled it since 2020, from roughly 17,000 to 37,000. This is amazing growth. In just 4 years, Princeton more than doubled in size. What makes Princeton special? First, Princeton is close to Dallas. Dallas is a big city with lots of jobs. People can live in Princeton and drive to work in Dallas. This gives them the best of both worlds. Small town life with big city jobs. Second, Princeton has lots of land for new houses. Builders can construct new neighborhoods for families. The houses are cheaper than houses in Dallas, but still nice and modern. Third, Princeton welcomes new businesses. The town government makes it easy for companies to open stores and restaurants. This creates jobs for people who live there. Fourth, Princeton has good schools. Families with kids want to live where their children can get a good education. Princeton has built new schools to handle all the new students. Princeton shows us that location matters a lot. Being near a big growing city helps small towns survive and grow. If you can offer cheaper housing and good schools, families will come. By 2029, Princeton will probably be even bigger. It might have 50,000 or 60,000 people. It's becoming a real city, not just a small town. Humboldt, Kansas. Our second success story is very different. Humboldt, Kansas is not near any big city. It's in rural Kansas, far from places like Kansas City or Wichita. But it's finding ways to attract new people. Humboldt, a town of just under 2,000 people, about 100 miles southwest from Kansas City, was losing people for many years. After losing more than 6% of its population in the last decade, the census shows there may actually be some growth in the area. How did Humboldt turn things around? The answer is creativity and hard work. A group of people in Humboldt decided to make their town more interesting. Paul Cloutier is part of a group that's helped bring a little bit of hip to Humboldt. They opened new restaurants and shops that make the town feel more alive. The restaurant is one of several projects the group helped launch to make Humboldt a more happening place. It has this vibrant kind of creative, bright urban energy in a small town that you never really expect to see something like this here. Humboldt is trying to be the kind of place where young people want to live. They're creating art spaces, music venues, and unique businesses. They want people to think of Humboldt as cool and fun, not just another dying farm town. The town also keeps its costs low. Houses are much cheaper than in big cities. This attracts people who want to own a home but can't afford big city prices. Humboldt still faces challenges. It's got a housing shortage and not enough demand for new homes. And rural areas mostly rely on births rather than incoming migration to grow. And with fewer childbearing adults around, communities start to shrivel. But Humboldt is trying new things. It shows that small towns don't have to give up. With creativity and community effort, they can attract new people and create new energy. By 2029, Humboldt might not be much bigger, but it will probably be more stable and more interesting. It might inspire other small towns to try similar approaches. We have traveled across America to visit 9 very different places. 7 are struggling to survive. 2 are finding ways to thrive. What have we learned? First, American towns face many different threats. Natural disasters, pollution, aging populations, job losses, and crime can all hurt communities. Sometimes one big problem kills a town quickly. Sometimes many small problems add up over time. Second, location matters a lot. Towns near growing cities have a better chance to survive. They can offer cheaper housing to people who work in the city. Towns that are far from everything have a much harder time. Third, jobs are crucial. If young people can't find good work, they will leave. When young people leave, towns start to die. Towns need to create new kinds of jobs, or help people commute to jobs elsewhere. Fourth, community spirit can make a difference. Towns like Humboldt show that people working together can create change. But this is not easy, and it doesn't always work. Fifth, some problems are too big for small towns to fix alone. When underground fires burn for decades, when pollution makes land unlivable, or when whole regions lose their economic base, towns may have no choice but to disappear. Looking ahead to 2029, we can make some predictions. Centralia and Times Beach will still be empty. Their problems cannot be fixed. Sheffield, Claude, and towns in Yazoo County will probably have fewer people. They might lose 20 to 50% of their current population. St. Louis and Jackson face uncertain futures. They might stabilize, or they might continue shrinking rapidly. Princeton will keep growing. It might double in size again. Humboldt might stay about the same size, but it will probably be more vibrant and stable. The story of American towns is still being written. Some will disappear. Others will find new life. The towns that survive will be the ones that adapt to change, attract young people, and build strong communities. What can we do to help struggling towns? We can support local businesses when we visit small places. We can invest in rural internet and infrastructure. We can help small towns develop new kinds of jobs. and we can remember that these places are home to real people with real stories. America has always been a nation of change. Towns have risen and fallen throughout our history. The question is, which towns will write the next chapter of their story, and which will close the book forever? Only time will tell. But by 2029, we will know which towns found a way to survive, and which became memories in the American landscape.